I'm Leslie Maddox, an engineer turned homeschool mom, and I like to talk about the nitty-gritty of homeschooling. Today, I'm going to continue to talk about the nitty-gritty of lesson planning. I've already put out one video about lesson planning, about planning out your year, decisions you have to make in planning out your year, and also decisions you have to make in choosing a lesson planner, different ways to lesson plan, different types of tools that you can use. This video, I'm going to talk about some of the pre-planning you have to do before actually creating the actual lesson plan for your overall lesson plan for your homeschool and for each subject. I'm going to use Homeschool Planet, as you see here in front of you, as I'm explaining this to you. So you'll see some tips and tricks for using Homeschool Planet, and then how I do my pre-planning before actual lesson planning. Just so you know, I am an affiliate for Homeschool Planet. And if you go down here, you can see that you can try it out for free for a month, and then pay either a monthly or an annual fee if you decide that you like it. I will put my link down below, my affiliate link down below. If you choose to try it out using my link, I'd appreciate that. But for now, let's just go ahead and jump into Homeschool Planet. So in the last video, I kind of gave you an overview of Homeschool Planet and what all this stuff is right here, and the different views and how to set up your school year in Homeschool Planet. So today, let's jump into talking about subjects. So you can see here, actually, let me just jump on back to August. This is, I'm planning to start the next school year on August 24th. And so I started lesson planning already, but I still have a lot of work to do, which I'll take you along with me in the next video, how I do some of that. But since I have a few subjects in here, you can kind of see how it looks like. And you can notice that I have different students in here. And these are all students that I have profiles for over here. And so once I have a profile for one, then I can assign him schoolwork. And I have different subjects: Bible, reading, handwriting, morning work. So that's some of the work that we have. So let me show you a couple of different ways to get those subjects. So if you go to your settings over here and see subjects and categories. All right, so for Homeschool Planet, there's a couple of different ways to do this. You can set up your subjects here on this screen, or you can set it up when you actually add a class. So you'll see here you have subject and category. Subject are the school subjects. Category is pretty much everything else, and I do use both of them. For category, I'll put things in here like I'll have categories for, say, medical and dental appointments or household service. So if I can move this aside, I'll show you. You see right here, we have a cleaning service come, which I'm very grateful for, every couple of weeks. So you see that that's green because I have household service here. I gave it the color green, and I have that there so that I remember when I'm looking ahead to each week that I need to keep that an easy day, because we're going to have a service in the house doing some work. We got to get out of their way and prepare for them. And then things like medical and dental appointments. So if we have, let's say, a dentist appointment, I put it in here into Homeschool Planet so that I know either don't do schoolwork that day, or keep it a light day, or keep the time around that appointment free so that we're on time and aren't stressed out. So that's what categories. Pretty much everything else I have, like Cub Scouts in here, family activities. Since you can use this planner to plan out everything, not just as a lesson planner, you can treat this the way you would any other calendar, like if you were in Google Calendar and setting up different categories of activities. So it's the same type thing. All right, so for subject, these are going to be your school subjects. You can also color code them, and you can add them in here. You see a link here for add a new subject. See some of them, a lot of them I have white, and some I have colors on them. And these are just different subjects I've used throughout the 5 years I've used Homeschool Planet. I don't use all of these every year. Some of them I don't use at all. You know, like things like numbers and math. I wouldn't use that now. That must have been something I used maybe the first year of homeschooling when I was trying to figure out still how to do lesson planning. PE, phonics, reading, science. So any one of these boxes is going to be assigned to a subject. And so whatever subject you want to use, you can put them in here. Now, as far as colors go, notice that like Bible, I have it white, but then I have this red color here on my son's Bible work. So let me show you something about the colors. This is themes. See, I've got this 4th of July theme right now since it's July. But for the colors section, you can decide here how you want your colors to show up. And I've done a couple different things. The way I have it set up is what I'm liking right now. So you have a couple different views. You have the calendar view and you have the planner view. So that's what you see over here. I have it in calendar view. Planner view, I showed you this in the last video. It's basically just a list of work. But I like the calendar view, so I'm going to put that here. So let me go back to settings, themes and colors. So these two boxes are how you want colors to show up in calendar view, or so you set them separately. I don't know why, but I guess you might want the flexibility for that, for the two different views. And then you have two boxes under each one, under calendar view, and then 2 boxes under planner view. Those 2 boxes are for classes, the colors you want for your classes. And that's what I have right here: Bible, reading, handwriting, morning work. And then for everything else, so the things I have here, the to-do, laundry, like this, house cleaning. Notice that they look very different. Like this has a background color and these others have white with a stripe at the top. And that's where you set that here. So what I do, maybe just showing you what I do will be a better explanation than anything else. What I do is I color code my kids. So if I go to one of their profiles, you can see the color blue here, and that's his color. So you see these blue stripes, that's him. For my youngest, he's red, so the red stripes are him. My oldest is green. So whatever color I put there, if I can, let me just close this. Close. All right, there we go. Go back to themes and colors, and I could decide if I want to, for each class that I put in here, if I want to identify them by students. So I see here on this calendar view, which I have, for classes, show students as a stripe. And so that's what I've done. You can show it as a background. So this kind of gives you an example of how that would look like. This has 2 students, so both of their colors are in here. You can show it as a rectangle on the side, as a dot, or just nothing. I like the stripe. That's what I've been using lately, so that's what I'm going to do. And here you see the example of you have 2 students, then it would, instead of a stripe all the way across, it splits it up between the 2. And then you can show what subject it is. So if you just want to glance, at your work without reading everything, you might want to assign a color so to each of your subjects, like you have here. See where you have those colors. So you might want to assign a color to them, and like here, like maybe you want if you see the dot, you'll know what subject it is, or the rectangle. So same type thing. So I just tend to put none. That's why I just have white for the subjects I've been using, because I'm not using that. I may change that. But then here, we put this back to a stripe. But then for everything else, to distinguish between classes and everything else, I have a background color. So for show student as, most of these are things that are assigned to me. So I just put none, but I have the background as a color, so I can glance at that and see that that's, without reading anything, I see, okay, that's not a class. So I like to distinguish in that way. So now, no, I do not want to save my changes. So right here, when I add my classes, then I can order these. I can drag these around. Now it gets kind of hinky sometimes. It doesn't always work perfectly, but I can move things around like this, so I can decide if I want to move it, move subjects, so it doesn't matter how you add these. You can add them in different orders and then move the class to where you want to be. So you see, I like to go from youngest to oldest. So I put all my youngest son's work, and then my middle son, and then my oldest son. And then within each student, I try to order it in the way that I'll probably have them do their schoolwork. So in the morning, I like for them to do independent work, so I'll have some independent stuff in the morning, and then in the afternoon, is when we usually do our one-on-one teaching time. So so I'll have that stuff further down the list. Usually, not always, but it just kind of gives me an idea. But I do like to group them, all of each student's work together. So you can drag those around, and you can even drag things from day to day to move them. Now, how do you decide what subjects you're going to have? So here's where we need to do our pre-planning. So I'm going to take you over to my spreadsheet that I use for planning out schoolwork. So if you notice, I don't know if you can read this or not, but this is for the 2020-2021 school year. I have folders for every school year, and in that folder I keep things like all the schoolwork they did, and writing assignments, the final drafts, any portfolio, book lists, anything I would want to put into a portfolio. And then I have all that on Dropbox, so that all those files get saved to Dropbox. I'll put a link down below for that. That's also somewhat an affiliate link, but that way I can access all those files from whatever device I'm on. If I download curriculum from like Evan Moore, I got a bunch of workbooks, but I got the digital versions of them that I purchased instead of the physical copies. That way, in the future, like in a couple of years, my youngest son can do the work that my middle son is doing today. I don't have to rebuy that workbook. So all those files get saved to Dropbox. I highly recommend that if you're going to be purchasing stuff online, any digital copies of anything. So part of that is a folder that I keep for each school year for book lists, reading lists, curricula, all that kind of thing. And this spreadsheet is one of those things that I create each year, or I copy from a previous year and redo while I'm researching, and then as I'm planning. And so this is some of the pre-work that I do. So what's on here? Okay, what I do is now this is in numbers, that's for Mac, because I'm a Mac girl, but you could do similar thing in Excel. So in numbers, you can have a different table on each worksheet, basically, which is pretty different from Excel. But anyway, so I have this one table right here that I create, and I put at the top, what are the things I want to focus on for this student. So there's a tab for each student. And so I want to think about what are the subjects that they have trouble with, because those are the ones that they'll spend more time on, or that I may need to spend more money or time on. And then what are their delights, so I don't forget about it. So like if we look at my youngest, he's going to first grade, so I know I really wanted to focus on writing and spelling and handwriting, the language arts basically. And he loves creativity, so I want to incorporate that somewhere, And then I have a similar thought process for my other boys. So I put that front and center so I don't forget about while I'm researching. And then I would recommend writing down whether you do this in a spreadsheet or on paper. Do you have subjects that are required to homeschool in your state? And what are they, if you do? So this is where it's really important to know your state laws, your local laws for homeschooling. Go to hslda.org, I think it is. It's Homeschool Legal Defense Association. And look at your state or territory or whatever your local laws are and see what's required of you. And so these are the subjects that are right now required in my state. And so I put them in blue, because you want to make sure you have those subjects covered. These other subjects are like possibilities. I wouldn't say do all of them, but things like Bible might be, like Bible's important for us, so I make sure they have some kind of Bible curriculum every year, or some kind of activity that they do to learn more about the Bible each year. Handwriting is especially important for the younger ones. Science, it's not required here, but that's something my kids love and something I certainly want them to know about. History, so this will be like world history, geography, your electives, music, art, a foreign language, health, physical education, other subjects you'd like to cover. Go ahead and list them here. And then as you're doing your research, you can put here like what's looking good to you. Like for my youngest, or actually for my middle son, I had a couple of different options for math. I was thinking about doing Math UC, which is what I do for my other boys, or Math Mammoth. So I just created another row, and I had both of them until I made my final decision. I have a column here for if it's been purchased or not. So this, because we don't want to buy things twice, right? So I don't forget that I bought something, or I might have it from a previous year, and so I can just mark that, hey, I've got that already. So like, let me see if I can see an example of that anywhere. Like Hooked on Phonics, like I've had this since my older two boys both did Hooked on Phonics, so I didn't have to buy that. So I could right away write at yes there. And then as I'm researching, I can look at the purchase price, so I can kind of keep track of my budget. A lot of times I'll put links, so I've got some links here, and I'll do a little comparison shopping and see, how much does this cost? Is this on Amazon? How much does it cost there? Is it on Rainbow Resource? How much does it cost if I buy it directly from the curriculum creator or the publishing house? So I do a little comparison shopping, put the price, and then I'll link directly to that. So during my research phase, so that it's less clicking around later on when I'm ready to make a purchase. And then as I'm planning, because some of these subjects take more work than others to plan, I'll mark here when I've planned, meaning I put it into my planner. So you can do something like this. You can just do it in a notebook. You can do it on a spreadsheet. I would recommend doing something like this so that you make sure that you have your subjects that are required of you, and that you don't forget subjects that you'd like to maybe tackle. And each student might be different. Like all my kids are different from each other in some ways. So like my oldest is doing health, and I actually have already decided what. I just don't have the name in here of a couple of books that I chose to go over health with him. My husband's going to do that with him. But that's purchased. So he's doing, he's going to be focusing a little bit on health next year, but my other two aren't going to be focused on it in the same way that he is. My oldest also does Spanish. My other two don't. So it might be different from student to student. And the curriculum you choose might be different from student to student. If you look at my worksheets about determining learning preferences and all, use those to help you decide while you're researching if a particular option is going to be appropriate for a specific child. So like my oldest do Math UC for math, but my middle son didn't like it, so I've been trying to find one that he likes. I tried one this past year. I didn't like it, and he wasn't crazy about it. And it just really didn't work out for the independent learner that he is. So we're trying out Math Mammoth this next year. So that's one place to start as you're researching and then making final decisions to make sure you have the subjects that you need. And then before you start lesson planning, not only do you need to know, what curriculum you've chosen and have it in hand so that you know how to plan it out. Make a best guess about your weekly schedule. So this is where when my other printables might be helpful for you. This is free on my website that you can download for free, some time block resources. And I mean, you could just do this in a notebook, but if you like to have something nicely organized, this will help you out too. So you would take something like this in deciding your weekly schedule. This is the pre-planning for your lesson planning. Take something like this and think about the characteristics of each day. So for example, if you are a member of a co-op, be it academic or social, write that down here under this, in this description focus section. Like if you have a co-op on Tuesdays, write that in here, because you know that you're probably not going to want to do your whatever subjects aren't covered at your co-op. You're probably not going to do them on that co-op day, especially if it's an all-day co-op, because it'll be taken up by that. For us, we have cleaning service come every other Friday, so I wrote that down on my copy, that was a cleaning day. And then also just in general, I like it to be a fun day or a catch-up day. So Friday, I don't want a lot of heavy schoolwork, and I also don't want a lot of teacher-intensive stuff on Fridays. So that's something I would write down here. And then you can, when you look at the characteristics of each day, if there's something you need to remember, maybe you have regular appointments on a certain day, like therapy appointments. We used to have speech therapy a couple of times a week for a couple of my boys. And so that was, I think that was like on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So that was something I needed to take into account before creating a schedule. And then you can just write down here your best guess, like, maybe we want to do Bible every day and handwriting every day, but science maybe just Thursday and Friday. So you can use this to help you figure that out. Okay, let me go back to Safari. I want to go back to numbers. So after thinking that through, I created this little table to help me figure that out. Because you don't want to do every subject every day. That would just be too much. And you don't need to do every subject every day. So, for example, I have Bible here. This is our sample, and this is basically, I think, what I have for my, except for the piano, for my youngest. So let's just look at his. We'll have Bible every day, morning work every day, but math 4 days a week, art on Friday. That's more of a fun, just creative. It's not a formal curriculum for him. It's just a way for him to be creative because he loves art. He loves drawing and being creative. Writing, I had this 4 days, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, but then after looking at the curriculum I realized, this is set up to do like a 5-day week. So I went ahead and changed this here, but you know what? I might end up changing my mind and say, well, we're just not going to stick to it by week. We'll just, that 5th day, the writing day, we might just roll it on, and that'll be roll it on to the next week and go loop through the lessons that way. But just to see how it looked, I went ahead and added here things like good citizenship curriculum, which is over here. Is for him, I chose this U.S. government LAC book to learn a little bit about the government. It's age appropriate. Where I just feel like we only need to do that once a week. So for now, I've chosen this date to do that. In the world history, I really just want to keep history to 2 days a week. We're doing Story of the World. I have that here. It's not required for us, but I think it's a good thing to do. So all of my boys are going to be doing this somewhat together. So I have those a couple days a week. Science a couple days a week. And so I tried to lay things down here to where I thought it made sense. I also want to see it helps. We can get carried away with choosing curriculum when we watch curriculum videos that other homeschool moms are using. Everything looks good and fun and helpful, and look what all the things I can do with my kid. But when we lay it all out in a table like this, we realize we might see that we're over scheduling our kids. So this is like the max I would want to schedule, especially a first grader. Now, most of these things aren't going to take that long to do. So I looked at this and about how much time I expect him to spend on each of these items. So this should be around 2 hours of work for him each day, because I'd rather keep it short and sweet and still get the point across, like he's doing real work in those 10 or 15 minutes for each subject. He's doing real work every day. But it doesn't take that long. That real work doesn't take that long, depending on how on task he stays. So laying it out like this really helps me to see if I've chosen a decent workload for him or not, and how I would want, what days of the week I want to cover each subject. Again, this is just a plan. I'd rather make this plan right now before starting my lesson planning over here than not have any kind of plan and have to go back and forth a lot and make a lot of changes. It's easier to change a plan than to create something new from scratch. So this is my plan for the schedule. Once I start digging in, like what happened here with writing, once I start digging into each workbook or whatever the curriculum I use, I might have to change this. Or once we get started, maybe I'll see that by Friday, I'm done with writing. I really can't take doing that. Or maybe I want to do 2 days, skip a day over here, or skip that last day, or do 2 days in 1 day. I can always change this later. But for my initial lesson plans, I need something like this. It makes things go a lot easier. So I've done that for each of my kids. And I color-coded it just so that I could see the different without reading it. That's okay, this is the same class. This is the same class. I have this one off right here. It just helps me. I'm a visual person, so that really helps me a lot. And if you're curious, I have a couple of other little tables here. This is for morning work. I have different activities in their morning work. So help me to think, what do I want to put in their morning work? And this is too much. And this is for my younger two. They use a workbox system. I've got videos about that if you're interested to see how we do it. And so they are 10 drawer units that I use for them. And so since there's only 10 drawers, I want to see, of what we chose, how would I set that up here? Because this is a key, this is one of the key systems in our homeschool for keeping us sane. And for them to be able to get to work independently. I think it's really important for kids to be able to know. Even my kids, since they were preschoolers, had some kind of workbox system or something, so they knew without having to come to me what was needed from them. It helped me from having 1,000 questions from several kids every day, and it helped them to not have to come to me. Kids shouldn't have to come to mommy for to know what they're supposed to do every second of the day. That's kind of a, I think, narcissistic way of managing things, where people have to come to me to know what to do each part of each day. So this drawer system is really important. So I need to make labels for those drawers. So I kind of plan out here kind of what order I want the drawers, and what, like, for example, I don't have enough drawers for everything that would need to go in a drawer, but I know that good citizenship and world history, we're not doing them on the same day. Even if we are, it wouldn't matter. I thought, well, I'll just do a social studies drawer for him. And on the days that he's doing this lap book stuff, I'll put his world history stuff in the bin on top of the drawers, and then I'll switch them out during the week. And so that's for that kind of planning. All right, so now that I've talked about that, this is the pre-planning that you'll do. You know, what curriculum you're going to use, what subjects you need to cover, what other subjects you might need to cover. And then, super important, how many days a week you want to do each subject, and on what days. All right, so once you've done that, then you can come over here, and that's when you can come here and set your subjects. So this is subject I have chosen, and you can make sure I have a lot of subjects in here, but you can add a new subject. If this will let me. It's not working out right now, so I'll just show you this. You can just change the color. Basically, it just lets you, oh, no wonder I put them on. Yeah, I just added a bunch of subjects. So it adds it at the bottom. And then you can just type in what you want the subject to be, and then if you want to assign a color to it, in case you want the little dots or rectangles or anything here at the side. And I just leave them white usually, because I don't, this past year I wasn't using those, so I may, who knows, I may change my mind. You can also, no, I did not want to save my changes. When you add a class, you can just click here in an empty space, choose class. If you want to add it like an appointment or something like that, you would choose everything else. But for class, I'll put that right here. And here's where you choose subject, and choose the subject you want, or you can add a subject here and the color. So you would type in the name of the subject and the color. So you can add them. You can add them as you go, and that's really usually that's what I do. So then when you choose a subject, let me just put Bible here for sake of example. You would choose your subject, and then what days of the week. So this is where this table becomes really helpful, because then you can say, do you want every weekday? Do you want only on Fridays, Tuesdays, Thursdays? They have like popular combinations here. Or you could just go here and say, well, I want to do this Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday. You could decide what you want. And then when they're put here, they're put on days that you have marked as a school day, so you haven't put an X on them in the school year planning section that I showed you in the last video. And all the days that are marked as school days, that are in this case Monday, Wednesday, and Thursdays, it'll put this subject. Title, this is where you might put something like, how have I used this in the past, where I put like the name of the curriculum. So notice I use very generic, I just use the subject. I use very generic names for these things. But if you want, you can also put in here, like for him, he's doing Picture Smart Bible, so I can type that here. I find that makes this really busy. It fills up these boxes, and it's just not necessary. So I don't use it, but you might want to do that. And then here you choose who it's for. So let's say if I was going to do it for my oldest, then we have space here, and see we have here Monday, Wednesday, Thursday. It puts blanks for every day during the school year that they would have this assignment, and you can choose what to put there. And I'll go over the next video how to do that. Just really wanted to show you here how you can choose what days the class starts and ends, so that starting day for the class or the ending day, and then what days of the week. And if you do your pre-planning, that makes that really, really easy. Notice here I put no particular time for at this time. So I've shared with you before, I don't recommend putting times for classes for when you're going to cover each subject. Just it's better to use a routine and to not be tied down to a subject, because days change. Life is complicated and a lot going on, especially when you're homeschooling and if you have several kids. So there's just no point in my opinion in doing that. But if you want to use it, hey, you do you. Also for starting and end day, so you can start and end whenever you want during the school year. I like to stagger my at the beginning of the school year. I don't want to start everything. Let me go back to Spreadsheet. So we're starting on a Monday in August. I'm not going to start off that first day with all these subjects. So in my general schedule, what I have planned right now is that eventually we'll be doing these things on a Monday, but that's not how I'm going to start off the school year. So for the first day of school, I might do important stuff so we might start off with Bible, morning work, maybe reading, and then the first day of school we always do some other special things, like getting to know you type, all about me type worksheets and stuff. So we might start off with those, and then Tuesday, the second day of school, we might add, do those same subjects, and then maybe add, I wouldn't add spelling and grammar because I really want to start those on a Monday. So I might add handwriting. So see, I might add a subject for each day, and then the next Monday I might add spelling, and grammar, and then the third week of school I might add good citizenship and history and science. So see how that works? Instead of starting off with the full load, kind of easing into the school year that way. So if you do that, then here you'll want to decide, when do I want to start that class? Make your decision, and then I always put here just the last day of school of that school year on here, and let me show you why. Okay, so for example, if I pull up here, class I already have, and I say show me up to the last day of class, then I know how long I have this planned for. So I know I have Picture Smart Bible. This is a week off that we're doing up through Revelation in October. And so then over here on my spreadsheet, I have for Bible, we're doing Picture Smart Bible, and this is we're doing the New Testament. And I also have the Old Testament that I wanted us to do, but I'm finding that he doesn't love the coloring of the Picture Smart Bible. He loves drawing and being creative, but coloring isn't creative to him. So he doesn't love that. So I thought, well, I think we'll switch to Grapevine Studies, which is more drawing stick figures. So I thought we'll probably do a mashup of these two. And so I know, I haven't even purchased that yet, see, because we're not doing it until October, and I want to wait and see if that's really what I want to do. And then when we do, then I will have to lesson plan that. But I'm not sure yet how I'll do that. I'll have to get the resource first and then see, do I want to start off with Genesis, maybe start off with the Old Testament with the Genesis page, and then do the Grapevine Studies. So see, I'll have to make decisions there. For something for example, let's look at my middle boy's Bible. If I look at show me everything up until the last day of school, he's been doing this devotional. It's a 365-day devotional. I didn't realize how much work he has still in it, how much more he had to read. This is this week off. So I can put it on here and see, he's going to be working on that until February. And then I've actually already purchased this Word of Life devotional, which is what I had planned for him. So I have here for Bible, Word of Life, and then I hadn't realized how much he had of this other one, and I could just switch to it, but I don't want to. He's enjoying reading this big beginner's Bible devotional, and that's something he can do on his own. So I like that, and I wanted him to get used to reading the Bible on his own. So, so I know that around February I need to ask him. So, where are you at on that? And see, he might have skipped it there. He might have read an extra, read a couple of these in one day, who knows. So I can kind of sync up with him and see where he is, so that I have this devotional ready for him when the time's needed. For something like, let's look at this handwriting. So for my youngest son, I have handwriting planned for, let's see what I have here, 4 days a week. So now let's look at how that lays out. So if we look at this, because that's how I have in my spreadsheet, that's what I plan for right here: Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Then I did get pretty detailed about this, about what's like page numbers and all. I don't do that with everything, but with some things, when I want to know when I'm finishing it up, I do get detailed. So if I look here to see if we do this 4 days a week, when will we be done with it? And I see March. We will be done with it by March. Now I'd like to have wiggle room. Our last day of school is the last day of the last Friday in July. And so I don't like to have things planned all the way up through July, because that doesn't give us a lot of wiggle room, because if we take days off or people get sick or whatever. So I do like wiggle room, but that's a lot. So I thought, well, I can ask myself, maybe I want to change that. Maybe we don't want to do it 4 days a week. Maybe we just want to do it. Maybe we don't do it Mondays. So how would that go? So then it'll change it in here for me. And I see now that takes us into May, and that still gives us a lot of wiggle room. So I haven't decided yet if that's what we're going to do, so I'm not going to save this, but you do have to make sure to save it. But, that's a possibility. This is why this is nice to do it like this. This is where the digital lesson planners have a leg up to the paper ones. That's a lot easier to play around with than doing a lot of counting and thinking up front and erasing. So that's where this is nice to do. And you know what? I think I might actually change that handwriting to either Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday instead of this Monday. Or sometimes, by Thursday we want to taper things off. So maybe I'll say we don't do it on Thursday. I don't know. I'll have to think about that. It also helps me to know, like, for example, my middle boy, he does his laundry on Wednesdays. It's his laundry day. And so I want to leave room for him to fold his laundry and all there, because, there's only so many hours in the day. Can't just keep adding stuff on. So I was playing around with this. I thought, well, he doesn't need to do, I originally had typing for every day on here, but that's something that he doesn't necessarily have to do on Wednesdays, since he's going to be doing his laundry, and there might be something maybe we won't do handwriting on Wednesdays, because then that gives us a little room, since he's going to be spending some time folding laundry, and I want to make sure he has time to do that, and then still plus his schoolwork plus just play and other things. Same thing with my oldest. He does his laundry on Tuesdays, so he's not going to do Spanish on Tuesdays, and he has handwriting. I'm planning to put it in his morning work, but I might for morning work, like I don't have it for my, oh yeah, I do. Right now I just kind of have morning work binder. It's just a reminder to get that done, but I might actually have to put in here individually for each day. You can add another assignment. I can put in here like each thing, like mindfulness and word ladders and handwriting, and then not have the handwriting for Tuesdays. Or I can make a note on Tuesdays don't do handwriting. So that's nice where you can go in and change these individually. So let's see, do I want to spell out anything else here? I don't think so. I think that pretty much covers this pre-planning idea, that it's a lot easier, whether you use a digital planner or a paper planner especially, it's a lot easier to lay things out like how you want your weeks to lay out, what subjects you want to cover, and what days of the week you want to cover them, how many subjects you want to cover each day, to help you know if you've overscheduled your kids or not, and what's realistic, because we can get a lot of big plans in our heads about schoolwork, but we lose a lot of the joy in homeschooling if we overschedule. It's a lot for the kids and it's a lot for you, mom. So this helps us to be reasonable and honest about what kind of actual time we have. And then I can go through here and think, since I'm an experienced homeschooler, I can think, okay, I know about how much time these are going to take, and I can see, even though there's several things, a lot of things here, I know it's probably going to take about 2.5 hours for him. And for my oldest, especially because their work is more intensive, I can be honest with myself about, like, do I have too much for him or not? And to make sure, like, if I chose a geography, for example, that was really intensive, I don't know if you even can, but that would be a problem. But I feel comfortable giving him things like adding geography as a separate subject here instead of rolling it into another subject like I've done in the past, because what I chose for him, this daily geography, it's really very short, but effective, so he can spend 5 or 10 minutes on that each day, and he'll learn a lot by the end of the school year. And it really didn't take any time each day by doing a little bit each day. Spanish, I know that if a day looks like it's getting heavy, maybe he's got a big project or something in a class, I know there's things like Spanish or geography or maybe typing that he doesn't do that day. Like, for example, for Tuesday, since that's the day he does his laundry, he's going to have to fold it and all. I might want to switch this around so that he's got, let's see if I can, writing here and then typing here, so I can kind of switch these around. And if I did that, if I felt like his Tuesday was too heavy, then I could take typing out. So then there's 2 subjects taken out. And that way he's just kind of got his core stuff to do, plus his laundry to do that day. So you see what I mean? This pre-planning will really help you out with the lesson planning. In the next video, we'll go into specifics of how, with Homeschool Planet, how I lesson plan my subjects. And I hope you find that helpful. I hope you found this helpful. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.